Hello, Homespot friends. Ready to be transported to Italy? Today we dive into a small rustic garden where stone, sun, and scent create pure calm. We will explore textures, layout, and how a compact space can open onto unforgettable views. I am thrilled you are here. So settle in, breathe deep, and let's begin this warm Mediterranean journey together. Let's join our little escape. Imagine a small hillside carved into intimate terraces, each level edged with rough, hand-stacked stone that shows age and lichen. Compact olive trees and dwarf citrus keep their silhouettes tight, while thyme and sannalina spill over the walls, softening every seam. Gravel crunches beneath careful steps as a zigzag path rises to a tiny overlook. Late sun rakes across the textures, drawing long shadows that reveal cracks, chips, and pale limestone tones. Beyond the parapet, the landscape drifts into blue and green layers, a calm backdrop that steadies the scene and slows your breathing, making space for quiet thoughts, borrowed view. Birdsong threads the air, light and unhurried. Follow a slender ribbon of pale gravel that threads through a pocket of green, bordered by clipped thyme, rosemary, and sannalina that release fragrance with every brush. Small limestone boulders punctuate the path, catching flickers of light as the lane bends toward a quiet opening. There, a framed glimpse of roof tiles and distant hills waits, soft and inviting. Bees hover over blossoms, and the ground underfoot stays tidy and calm. Texture does most of the talking here. Crunch, leaf, stone, sky, and simple conversation. The path becomes a guide for the senses, a measured walk toward ease and perspective. A faint breeze lifts the herbs and cools skin. Step into a sun-bleached courtyard where terracotta and travertine pavers carry a chalky patina, each hairline crack catching warm afternoon light. Weathered pots of bay and lavender flank a simple wooden bench, while a canvas sail throws slow-moving shade. The space is small, but it opens toward vineyards and a long horizon of pale blue. An iron lantern rests quietly on the wall, unlit yet promising evening glow. Everything feels handmade and honest, a slender pause between day and dusk. Sit, listen to the hush, and let time unfold at a different speed, the countryside always present. Stone, leaf, and sky settle into simple harmony. Under a compact pergola of rough timber, grape leaves sift sunlight into bright coins that dance across a stone seat. Clusters of fruit hang at eye level, a living curtain that frames the valley below. Gravel underfoot keeps the scene spare and dry, while a soft breeze stirs the leaves with a gentle hush. The arbor makes shade without heaviness, a cool threshold between garden and panorama. Sit here and feel time slow. The village, the tiled roofs, the olive groves beyond all gather into a single, clear picture. It is shelter and outlook at once, quietly balanced. Everything invites pause, then another lingering moment. Limestone slope. Stones lie as if revealed by weather rather than placed by hand. In their crevices, sedums, dwarf cistus, and tufted grasses find purchase, glowing silver and sage in the dry light. A narrow goat path of chips and gravel curves upward, inviting careful steps and steady eyes. Fossil flecks and irregular edges catch shadows, building relief and rhythm. Above the crest, distant hills dissolve into gentle blue, adding depth that feels endless. The planting palette stays low, tough, and calm, reducing maintenance while enriching texture. This is resilience shaped into beauty, a landscape that welcomes heat and wind. Quiet craftsmanship makes the place breathe with history. At the center of a tiny patio, a single olive tree rises from a generous terracotta jar, its gnarled trunk twisting like a modest sculpture. Silvery leaves shimmer against warm stone, while low planters of thyme and oregano knit a fragrant carpet around the base. The pot sits on a round mosaic of worn brick and pebbles that gathers the eye. Beyond a low wall, patchwork fields and a winding road stretch away. Nothing here is extravagant. It is all proportion and presence. The tree anchors the scale, sets the tone, and turns a small space into a destination. Scent lingers softly, guiding memory toward the horizon. Listen to a thin thread of water slip from a bronze spout into a narrow rill, its quiet rhythm cooling the heat that shimmers off limestone. Sunlight sparks on the moving surface, then slides into shade where moss softens stone edges. The rill guides your gaze toward a simple gap in the hedge, and through it, vineyards step down the slope like a green staircase. Jasmine leans in, scenting the air without fuss. This is water not for spectacle, but for breath and ease. The sound gathers the space and calms it, stitch by stitch, moment by moment. Nothing shouts. Proportion and texture do the talking. Inside the low walls, the garden stays disciplined, gravel, clipped herbs, and a measured rhythm of pots. Beyond, hills roll into layered greens and blues, with a bell tower pricking the sky. The contrast is deliberate. By holding back inside the frame, the eye falls forward to the distance. A single iron chair faces outward, spare and inviting. Sit and let the horizon steady you. The view is not a backdrop. It is part of the room, borrowed and honored. In this quiet exchange, near and far become one conversation, modest and grand at once. Here, rustic patience turns time into a gentle companion. Climb a run of shallow, irregular steps where thyme and creeping rosemary spill from joints, perfuming the air as you pass. The stair narrows at turns, teasing new angles of the valley below, while a simple iron rail traces the curve and catches light. Small niches in the retaining wall hold succulents, tiny flames of green against pale stone. At the top, a compact landing waits with 2 stools and a ledge to lean on. The ascent is brief, but it feels like a small pilgrimage. You rise, you turn, the view opens again. Scent and stone keep company. Each step carries you closer to calm and clarity. Here, a miniature Orto proves that usefulness can be beautiful. Tomatoes climb rustic stakes, basil domes shimmer, and zucchini leaves sprawl within crisp gravel alleys and low chestnut edging. Marigolds, chamomile, and buzzing life ring the beds, bringing color and company. Tools are simple and close at hand: a terracotta sink, a coil of hose, a worn shrug. Everything is aligned toward a slice of view, so tending the beds always leads the eye outward. Flavor, order, and landscape meet in one gesture, humble and satisfying. A faint breeze lifts the herbs and cools skin. The garden feels complete, small yet expansive in spirit. Two columnar cypress trees rise like quiet pillars at the corners, giving height to a modest space and an unmistakable Italian silhouette. Between them, a stone bench turns toward layered hills and slow drifting clouds. Underfoot, gravel stays cool and restrained, while mounds of lavender and Santolina roll in soft repeats. The vertical and the low play off each other, a simple duet that steadies the scene. As evening approaches, trunks warm and greens deepen. The outlines sharpen against the sky. Sit a while and feel the quiet build. This is architecture made of living things, strong and graceful. Stone, leaf, and sky settle into simple harmony. of the garden, a handmade mosaic stitches ground and memory together. Fragments of terracotta and rounded pebbles form simple patterns that break up the pale field of gravel. A tubbed fig and a pot of rosemary flank the panel like quiet guardians, their shadows drifting across the surface. The path draws forward to a low wall where the countryside begins, soft and generous. Texture, repetition, and small imperfections give the place its soul. You feel the work of hands and seasons underfoot, steadying each step. Everything invites pause, then another lingering moment. The garden feels complete, small yet expansive in spirit. Along a short lane, 4 potted lemons stand in easy procession, glossy leaf catching sunlight and bright fruit glowing like lanterns. The repetition creates rhythm, guiding footsteps toward an iron gate and the panorama beyond. Gravel keeps everything clean and bright, while warm stone walls and a clay tile roof edge the scene. Bees visit blossoms, and a light sweetness hangs in the air. It is a humble ceremony of approach. Tree, 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 then the opening, then the view. The lesson is simple and clear. Repeat, align, reveal. Quiet craftsmanship makes the place breathe with history. Each step carries you closer to calm and clarity. At the edges, Orto gives way to a painterly band of wildflowers where poppies, chamomile, and airy grasses mingle. The core of the garden stays tidy, but the margins loosen, adding motion and bright, fleeting color. Butterflies flip like sparks, and bees drift in lazy circuits. Terraces step into the distance, and ridgelines fade to blue, a gentle reminder that this pocket of ground belongs to a larger place. The wildness softens stone and gravel, and the garden feels less made and more grown. Here, rustic patience turns time into a gentle companion. A faint breeze lifts the herbs and cools skin. Drop a step into shelter and discover a sunken pad edged with thick stone that doubles as informal seating. Cushions lie on a low platform oriented to the best slice of the view, while the rim is planted with lavender and rosemary to brush scent into the breeze. The depression steals a little wind and holds a little cool, keeping voices low and calm. Around it, the ground stays open and bright. From here, the countryside stacks in blue and green layers, steady and expansive. It is a place to talk softly and look far. Everything invites pause, then another lingering moment. Against a warmed wall, a compact fig is trained flat, its arms splayed with deliberate grace. Between the branches, climbing roses weave, scattering soft blooms and an easy fragrance that lingers where heat collects. At the base, herbs knit a green stipple across brick and soil. The wall becomes more than backdrop. It is engine and memory, storing sunlight for fruit and flower. A narrow opening frames a church tower and the terraces tumbling below. The pairing feels both romantic and practical, a duet of sweetness and shade. Quiet craftsmanship makes the place breathe with history. Scent lingers softly, guiding memory toward the horizon. Reclaimed bricks stitch paths, edges, and two shallow steps into a warm, irregular thread that guides movement. Their reds and umbers play against pale stone and gravel, while moss and softened corners tell a patient story of weather. A small circular landing gathers the routes and points the eye toward a low opening in the wall. Through it, hills fold gently into one another. Herbs tumble onto the brick, blurring the line between structure and growth. The scene is modest but complete, using craft to make quiet order. Everything invites pause, then another lingering moment. The garden feels complete, small yet expansive in spirit. Prune mulberry, shade becomes a room. Light filters into coins that drift across gravel and a small table, while air moves with a faint, leafy hush. Jasmine nearby lifts the mood without crowding it. Beyond the low wall, fields and roofs blur into soft bands of tan and blue. The tree makes comfort in a hot landscape, its canopy held like an umbrella over conversation and slow lunches. Terracotta pots and a simple bench suggest lingering. The space is cool, generous, and welcoming without effort. Bird song threads the air, light and unhurried. Everything invites pause, then another lingering moment. Into evening, shallow niches and ledges wake with lantern light, laying soft halos across gravel and herb foliage. Stone warms to honey, and the hills beyond settle into layered silhouettes. The garden does not retreat. It changes register, keeping the view in play while voices drop and time lengthens. Textures stay readable without glare, and paths feel sure underfoot. It is a scene for unhurried conversation and quiet reflection, where small flames make the walls feel close and kind. The air holds jasmine and warm stone. The garden feels complete, small yet expansive in spirit. Each step carries you closer to calm and clarity. Thanks for wandering this Italian rustic hideaway with me. We saw how terraces, gravel paths, herbs, and a few sculptural trees could turn a tiny space into a landscape with soul and sweeping views. If this brought you a moment of calm and inspiration, please like the video, subscribe to Homespot, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps these journeys growing. Arrivederci, and see you next time.